We hereby call this meeting of the Fangirls Club to order. I'm Haley.
Hi, Haley. I'm Brielle.
Hey, Brielle.
Today, we are going to fangirl. Today, we are going to fangirl over Stranger Things as usual. We've done a couple of videos before of just our very general Stranger Things like theories and our theory therapies that we went over. But now that we've gotten, since then, all the titles, obviously, of the episodes, well,
for season
except
5.
for one,
Yep.
for the new season. And then also now we just got the teaser. So we kind of went through, even though it had nothing to do with Eddie, we already went through more of our Eddie theories. And then today we're really going to kind of dive more into our Will theories because it looks like this new season is really going to have to do with Will.
Yeah, he's going to obviously play a huge part of the final season. I think it was very apparent in the teaser, the flashbacks of the teaser, some of the titles in the season, and then the new clips that we got, that a lot of stuff is alluding back to referencing Will in the first season, his disappearance.
The vanishing.
Yeah, the vanishing of Will Byers. And, you know, how his character throughout the seasons, what he's gone through, and how he's going to help the party. Not help the party. We don't know what he's going to do in this final season. But yeah, we have some thoughts.
Yeah.
So we'll just go over some of the clips that he is in from the teaser, some of the flashbacks.
And how that kind of leads into some of the arguments of theories people have kind of talked about before. I think I was just honestly mostly surprised too that like mainly with this teaser, the only dialogue we got was Joyce and Will. And I feel like that just like really hits home what this season is going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, I think we've been introduced to so many characters in the last couple seasons, especially. There have been a lot of new characters, and it feels like, exactly like you say, a homecoming. Like we're bringing it all back to how it started with Will and Joyce, and Joyce looking for her son, and now them finally maybe diving deep into what happened to Will in the Upside Down. So will we finally find out, get any sort of perspective as to where he was in the Upside Down, what happened in the Upside Down to Will?
I'm curious if it's going to be kind of like a flashback episode, or if throughout the whole season we'll get glimpses of flashbacks.
That would be cool.
Because I don't see them spending a whole episode on doing it, but...
And I'm interested as to how they would do that with an older Noah. Like, how would they do these flashbacks? Would they have filmed these early on and just not...
Well, we do have that behind the scenes photo of him like laying next to a kid, or is it a dummy? I can't even tell.
Oh, they could do
Younger
what they
him.
did with Millie.
Yeah, so he's like kind of watching the flashback himself.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I'm most excited for is to finally get Will's perspective of what he went through.
I think this whole season is just going to be
figuring that out and how that is the key to defeating the monsters of the Upside Down and closing the gate finally for good.
We know time is the key.
Yeah.
And that has something to do with how they're going to defeat Vecna / the Upside Down. So the only thing that would make sense is going back to Will, because the Upside Down, at least the Hawkins version of the Upside Down, is frozen to the night.
He was taken.
Vanished.
And
so that time is frozen. It has to do with that night. Like it has to do with that.
One theory I see is like that Will actually created the Upside Down as we know it. When we are introduced to Vecna / Henry, and we're sort of getting his when he travels to the other dimension, it's sort of this like vast wasteland void type place.
Vecna does like have his home base like in the Creel house.
That's true, but I'm interested in like, are each of them creating a piece of Hawkins
their home
each time they're there? Because Nancy also plays a big part. She's one of the first ones to go to the Upside Down as well, and her house becomes kind of a big factor in season 4. So I don't know. Castle Byers and the Byers' home obviously is like a huge focal point of the first season. So yeah, the full creation of Hawkins as the Upside Down is interesting, and I want to see if there's any like
what is the Upside Down besides the Hawkins version that we know? Like, is there a border?
Yeah, how far does this expand?
Is that wall that we see in one of the new shots of the teaser, is that like the edge fence of Hawkins, and behind that is the rest of the Upside Down? Like, what is that wall? It looks gross too.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, so anyway, it's just interesting. I think that's something that like everyone's like really anticipating, and something that I think we sort of lost track of as the seasons have gone on. Like, I haven't really thought about or questioned what happened to him, because we were just so happy to get him back, and we moved on to different problems.
And we know because of behind the scenes pictures that we've seen too, that he is back with the other three. So like it's that core four again too. So again, it's just another thing that's throwing us back to season one. Well, I mean, he was barely with them season one, but like back to that beginning of them all together. And
exactly. And I think like the more I think about the way that they introduced this teaser as a whole, I do think I am a believer that the Duffer Brothers don't do anything not carefully. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that they plan everything out to a T, and I think that starting with the flashbacks is important. Yeah, and it's meant to make you think about that, and they are going to play. This does play a role in the theme of the final season.
Yeah, and the only dialogue we hear is Joyce saying, "I think about that night all of the time." So it really is just hitting home of like this whole season is that night, what happened, and then it shows flashbacks of the only flashback scenes we see of Will in the teaser is 3 different quick shots of him in that first episode, like running away before he's kidnapped. So it's like him running to the, not garage, but
sort of a
like shed thing. And then so that's him literally being taken. And then with him and the mind flare. They make sure to show that together. So we still need to remember the importance of him and the mind flare. Yeah.
There's a close-up shot of him, and then there's the shot of the mind flare kind of going for him.
And then the other shot we really see of Will, flashback-wise, is him standing with everyone at the end of the last season, just like looking over Hawkins and together. Like, so him with everyone again.
It's all part of his journey being connected to the Upside Down in some way, or this entity that he's still connected to.
Yeah, like they made sure to show like him and the mind flare together. I think was important. So what about new shots?
Okay, we're calling it the military base, whether it's
where they
an actual legitimate base or it's just Hawkins and you know the military's in there. And so I lightened these up so that we could see what's going on in these shots. So the first one is obviously Mike in front of the new Hellfire Club, or so we think. Erica's not there, but we've got the 3 other new members, and then Joyce in the back holding an unconscious, supposedly, Will. We know this is Will because in his run, I think he's wearing the same thing in his run, like screaming shot. And then when I lightened it up, I think you can see this in the dark version as well, but I had forgotten. We know it's the military base because there's a soldier like dead to the left of them.
And we do know there has been a behind the scenes shot that we've seen of at this location, Vecna. And a bunch of military dudes just like shreked on the ground. So
this is, you can probably guess, it's a good guess that this is the same time.
And I like this picture so much with Mike of like, because Will's painting, he painted him with the shield and he's here like shielding the kids.
He's being the shield,
like exactly. He is his own shield and he's like blocking them and protecting them.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that too because I did go back and I looked at the painting. The first thing I thought of was the new shot of Mike being the protector of the heart of the party. So I think one could think like if the close-up shot of Will screaming, I think it's safe to assume that, or you know, my guess at least is that Will is screaming. He does something. I don't know what it is. And then this with Mike shielding all of them is Will after that.
After that.
Yes.
To me, it kind of looks like where the ground is. I don't know if that's at the military base. It kind of looks like the barn.
He's not wearing this in the barn, though, is the only thing.
He's wearing the jacket.
He's wearing, and this looks like a jacket that he's wearing. I don't know. I mean, because this is definitely Will, because we see this jacket in these behind the scenes photos. I do agree. I think the ground looks weird. The ground looks more like the barn. So maybe this is it might be a completely different place.
That's why it's the close up. Of course, they like only showed the closest shot they could, so we don't see. We can't even tell where he is or what's going on. But the ground looks different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think maybe these could all be different places.
Yeah, and the barn is like, what is shot? There's so many questions just with that one shot. It's crazy.
The barn. So I was looking at this, and I think, aside from, I keep forgetting his character's name,
Derek,
the new Hellfire kid, he's definitely levitating.
Like, you don't think he's just standing on the...
Okay, maybe he's standing up top, you think? He is straight up, that's for sure. He's not sitting. I don't know. It's impossible. It's kind of impossible to tell. But Derek is above them for some reason. I don't know why he would be standing up there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's necessarily we don't know his skills, we don't know his abilities. If he's up there for, maybe he's like a sniper or something, who knows, and he's like really good at...
Almost looks set up. Do you know what I mean?
Like this is a trap that this team is setting up.
Their formation, Joyce has her axe again. Like, why would he be the only one that's up there? It just kind of almost looks, and I have the feeling that their dialogue from the beginning of the teaser is right before this. Like, they're waiting at this barn, having this heart-to-heart, because they know something's about to happen, and they're, like, waiting for this moment.
Could be. I don't think he's wearing this, though, is the only thing in that conversation. Joyce is going to be wearing this the whole season. We know that. I also think that he is... possessed in some kind of way
at this moment
in this shot. I don't know, just the way he's standing so straight with his arms to his sides. Everyone else is sort of in a, like, Robin's kind of just doing Robin. I think this is Erica, only because her hairstyle in the new season, I put this picture of her, is sort of like that. So cute. And she wears purple. Like, her color is purple. So this isn't the clothes she's wearing in that shot, but I think it's her.
And we do know, we have seen it behind the scenes or just something of Erica and Derek together.
Yeah.
So we know they interact at some point throughout the season. So we know they're friends. And I think it literally says like Erica's new friend or something like that.
So Steve is the babysitter of the new babysitters of the kids who need to be babysat.
Now there's even...
So there are layers here now.
Thank God he's not here with them, because I would have felt bad that if he's with even more of the younger kids again.
But also they gave us nothing for Steve, and I know they're doing that on purpose.
Well, at least he's with Dustin.
He's with Dusty
Bun.
We know
they're together.
But I think something's going on with Will here. I just have a feeling.
I have a feeling all of these shots are like in the same episode. I feel like they gave us so much less than we even think. And like, this is all within maybe 2 episodes, but like, it's nothing. Like, because some of them seem to be wearing the same exact things. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I've seen maybe a couple outfits for a few people.
Even with the behind the scenes shots, like, it's some of the same stuff. Like,
one thing for sure because we're looking at the stills from their Instagram, but in the clip, the lights are definitely flickering, a la Vecna, upside down light flickers.
So he's coming.
So something's coming behind the doors of this bar, and we see that in the trailer. The doors are sort of like being. Do we want to talk about Will being the sorcerer / Will the Wise, and like what we think that's going to look like in the final season?
Yeah, because we already see a quick shot of Mike in a very small way, almost reenacting his position in that painting.
Paladin,
and his premonition in that way. So I think it just still is not a coincidence at all they really reiterated multiple times, like, his nickname was Will the Wise. And then here, he's the sorcerer.
So it's just his hand and then his
magic.
Not a fireball, because he you know, remember in the first season, he didn't have the right color crayons in that flashback. So he purposely used blue here. So yeah, some sort of magic.
I like that it's blue, but it does look reminiscent of his like little purple costume.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, he's so cute.
I know.
It just seems to, I don't know, Will the Wise connected to the Mind Flayer. It just seems so purposeful.
And he says explicitly in the 4th season, like, I can remember how Vecna thinks and what he thinks. And I think he'll be able to maybe tap into that more. Sort of like a foresight sort of thing. Maybe not full on magic like Elle, but yeah, I think it's a no-brainer that he's connected to the hive mind.
Yeah.
And maybe that's going to be explored.
I think it has to be. I think maybe because he was away in California, there's just like the distance, the separation, it just like really diminished. But now that he's back in Hawkins and he's closer and there's so much going on, maybe it just like, or when he chooses, Vecna just wants to use him again and he can just instantly use him as a spy again and they're connected and he still feels him.
Yep.
I wanted to pay attention so much to that flashback clip of him and the Mind Flayer together, and they're showing that he, you know, the connection, and then I think that's going to be reused. And I don't know, like maybe part of like the power that he ends up having is that he can find a way to use that connection that he still has, but like almost to help them rather than to be used.
Which is what the intention of Vecna is. That's the hope, is that he'll learn to be able to use it for good. Maybe there will be a point where he feels like he has to sacrifice himself or something, or else he'll be used in that way. Like, I think something, maybe that run is not towards the end. Maybe it's like, maybe he's protecting them against himself, you know, because he's about to be...
He knows.
He's about to be made to do something bad. And this is going to catapult him into this, like... Yeah. I can't be around everyone,
because he looks like he's straining. Not just yelling. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like he
100%.
looks like he's either trying to fight, he knows he's about to be possessed again, or it just almost looks like he's like holding whatever it is back in a way. Like he looks like he is
like convulsing again, like he did a lot in season 2.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a shot of him looking up a little bit too, like very similar to when they found him in the field. It might not even be something that everyone else can see, like it used to be for him. Like it's just back, which again, that correlates back to this theme of remembering what happened in the beginning. Yeah, I feel like it's not a coincidence that, not that you don't forget about Will, but he's kind of been cast to the side very continuously, even though the whole thing's had to do with him. Like birthday gate. Like, it's the age-old question. Like, did they really forget his birthday? Is this something that actually ties into this whole thing? You know, I think either way, it plays in perfectly to Will as a character in the at least the last couple seasons, you know? So we'll see. I did take a note when I was doing my season 1 rewatch, and this plays into like the mind control stuff. And it's about the X-Men comic that Will wins from Dustin. Okay. He wins a bet or something. I can't quite remember exactly because I only wrote down, I just found this Reddit thread from literally 9 years ago. Fantastic. And so he tells Dustin that I want your X-Men 134 comic. And someone looked into it, and it's something that happens in the middle of the Phoenix saga, having to do with when the Dark Phoenix first appears, where Jean Grey learns to fully unlock her powers and becomes the Phoenix, but then she becomes the Dark Phoenix. It has to do with... Tale as old as time. I know. There's a mastermind who tinkers around in Jean's brain to control her and take control of her powers. And so 9 years ago, people were speculating this connects directly to Elle and Brenner. But I don't know, like, rewatching, it struck me immediately, and I was like, I don't know, maybe this was actually some major crazy foreshadowing to
literally Will, who this scene is playing out around, being controlled by Vecna. I do think all roads point to this happening at some point.
Do you think he would just get fully like possessed, or is it, and what does that look like? What does possessed mean? Because even when he was possessed by the mind flare, like he didn't do anything to harm anyone, you know?
He didn't, no.
He was kind of just like a lens that they looked through.
Yeah, it's like it's more of a seer. Is he?
But can he now see both ways? Hopefully.
Yeah, what's the significance of Will being back now, actually in Hawkins? Does this strengthen Vecna now in like a crazy way because now his like main seer on the ground is back? I don't know how that all exactly how it connects. Vecna obviously control other creatures. Does this play into the Eddie theory, like how he might be controlling other beings? Will we see any of our other dead friends come back, you know, and like, that's a whole different thing, I guess. That's more resurrection. But
yeah, but how, like, to what end does he control them, you know? Is it just
what does he want from Will?
Yeah,
right.
Like, are they all just connected to this general hive mind so they kind of serve him? But he's not like physically controlling the Demogorgon, you know, like as a puppet in a way. Like they're kind of just like obeying him or serving him in a way because they know that he has control over the whole hive mind, I guess.
Yeah.
So like what would that look like for Will too?
I know. Without anybody knowing this is what's going on with Will, lure the others in.
Is that the trap?
Get him Yeah, is that the trap? The turnbow trap?
Turnbow trap? Is that the trap? Like they know
Maybe.
where will be will lure Vecna, so that's why they're like waiting in that barn.
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, maybe. Because I was also wondering, whose barn is that?
I think I saw something that people think it's Derek's, like that new kid. They think it's his barn. Maybe that's why he's chilling up top.
This is my spot.
He's just like, I'm just gonna chill.
King of the castle.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think Will's gonna die?
I don't think so. I really can't have Will die because what will all of this have been for Joyce especially?
Yeah.
I'd hate for that to happen after everything. I would honestly feel like the first season was like kind of tossed away, and all of that development and story for Joyce specifically, if like her kid just dies in the end anyway.
Yeah, like why get him back and go through everything in season 2 and like all of this stuff, and then he would just be the one to die. It just seems.
I would even feel that way about Jonathan, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that family needs to stay alive.
The 3 of them, yeah.
I think they need to come out of it.
Yeah.
Because they're just sort of this heart, like the central.
I think it'll be like a risky thing. Like they'll know Will has to do something, risk himself in a way to get what they need to do. So it's scary, and Joyce is like apprehensive. But yeah, I just don't see him dying.
I don't see Will dying. No. I think he will be a hero in the end and live a happy life. I'm hoping this ends with like I don't know how I want it to end, honestly.
They're going to end it somewhat happy.
I want it to be like sort of like a Stand By Me situation, because in that, the party has to be somewhat based off of that Stephen King book and movie, where like the beginning of the movie is like older version of the kid who's written a book about this one summer. And then it ends with that as well. So I'm almost like, you know, maybe Will is older and he has like an illustration book or something. And it's like illustrations of
the vanishing of
my
Will
mind.
Byers.
Yeah, the vanishing Will Byers or something like that. And I don't know. That's my hope and prediction, I think, for Will's end anyway.
I am interested to see in this last season what the episode The Vanishing of will be titled and who it is, because that's how we started the whole series.
I know.
The episode The Vanishing of Will Byers. So everyone still thinks it's Holly, but I feel like, especially with the things that they have let be released, that seems too obvious. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. Because you know what? I've been convinced for a long time now that it was a Wheeler. But it doesn't say that at all. In the title,
I don't know where that came from.
I was like, I've convinced myself that it's something Wheeler, but it's not. It's just The Vanishing of blank.
even if it was something Wheeler, it could be any of the other Wheelers. Yeah.
But I think that now realizing that it's totally blank, like that could be the flashback episode. Like it could be something having nothing to do with, everyone wants it to be Holly for some reason.
I think they let those 2 pictures be released that we see Holly with. And it's not even Vecna. That's what I'm so confused about.
Yeah.
It's Jamie.
I know.
It's just straight up no makeup Jamie. So
I know.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I know.
I have no idea. Flashback, memory, vision. Maybe he's showing her something.
Yeah, that could be it.
So I don't know. The vanishing of Holly Wheeler doesn't say... Not that they can make her a more important character in this season, sure, but she doesn't seem important enough to have a whole episode. I don't know.
Unless we're we're really playing back into stuff that happened in the first season. Like Holly was one of the only ones who... She was a child, attention. So I know we understand, like, the kids have this sense of belief of what's going on around them, and Joyce did too. And so Holly saw like what was coming through. Yeah, the lights. So it could be,
another cute little kid that gets taken.
Yeah. She doesn't have enough trauma.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I do think that also has we know that has something to do with that, at least for Vecna. So,
but Will's the only one that's been successfully taken and not killed. So we don't really know why that is either. Why did they not kill him?
Yeah, that's also something I had to unlearn, is that Demogorgons only want to kill and shred apart. And I was always like, why? It can't be a Demogorgon that took Will, because why would it take Will?
Yeah.
And not just eat him, or learning later on that it was being controlled. Yeah, so why just take him? It also took Barb, technically, but then we know what happened. It's not like Will was levitated into the air and broken into a million pieces.
Yeah, he wasn't strong enough for that yet at the time, or something like that.
There was something that was seen in Will that made him the perfect vessel, or...
Well, him and Henry are very similar.
Right.
Very odd, outcast, bullied, loved drawing, very introverted. They have a lot of similarities. So I wonder if
I think he saw
Will being taken was specific or not.
But chronologically, does that make sense?
That he took Will on purpose?
How long had it been since he acclimated to the upside down,
Well, not that long, honestly. Not long at all.
So yeah, maybe he did stumble into Hawkins, and it's not like Will was taken and he made it, Because Hawkins was his home too, so yeah.
It's the night.
It's sort of the same night,
Elle
right?
Sent him to...
I know we've thought about this too before, and I'm just like...
But it's also just time, once he was there, is time not the same?
That's also true. Time sort of maybe froze... Scratch all this. I am interested to see what Elle and Will do together. How they work together. And when I was watching the flashbacks portion of the teaser, there's just a ton of both of them flip-flopped.
They have a lot of connection, even though they weren't ever together in the first episode.
Exactly. And when Joyce said in her voiceover, it's I think I've been thinking a lot about that night, is they show Elle and the boys finding Elle. Over analyzing the voiceover matching with the clips, maybe, but I don't know. I choose to believe everything's purposeful.
It's definitely gonna, because they're the only two that actually have a connection with Vecna, so it's gonna have to be them.
Will Will be able to help save Max? There's the Max of it all. There's so much that has to be resolved and solved and put together. I feel like there's a lot, but it's broad, right?
Yeah.
It's just overall, we know he's gonna be a very important part of the last season, more important than most of the characters. It's just that.
And he's the one giving the inspirational speech in the teaser too, which is not what we've ever seen him do before.
No, that or his big scream, his big run.
I'm so excited to see what that is.
He's gonna pop off in this season.
I'm so excited.
And I think this is all you know, him being kind of cast to the side.
We also saw him at like his lowest in the last season, of like just really beaten down, doesn't feel like he has a home anymore. He's not with his friends. He's just like is so upset Mike finally visits, but it's, you know, he's not his best friend like that anymore. And I think we just like really saw Will at like this really low spot for a reason.
Yeah. And I wonder if we start with him there at the beginning, and he's taken advantage of because of it. I wonder if that's what will happen to start it out.
But they're all together.
But I'm excited for the party to be back together, especially, and for the painting to truly come to life.
I can't wait to see what this painting is gonna be.
Side note, Dustin with his little demon horns on his helmet, and also holding an axe, which is another name for a guitar. So,
do you think he's gonna play the guitar in the next season?
Maybe.
Yeah, I do like that he has the little horns on his helmet, because Eddie does do the...
I know. How would Will know that? Creep.
He knows everything.
He knows everything.
It's just very much the assumption of that, like, we know it started with him and it's going to end with him. And I like that seems to really be with Joyce in this last season, when, you know, the whole rest of the show's just been them separated or going through troubles.
Yeah, I know. It's either he's suffering and she's trying to help him, or like they're in an okay spot and so Joyce is trying to like
get their life back together.
Get everything back together. And
I cannot wait for
mostly
that scream.
I just can't wait for the scream. I know, and see what that's all about.
Oh, it's so good.
Leader Will, I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay. Let us know if there's anything else that we missed for Will.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Will the Wise?
Will the Wise. I just want to see him in that hat again.
Put on
with
the
his
outfit.
Little hair, his
I know.
bowl cut. This meeting of the Fangirls Club is adjourned. Good night.
And good riddance.